Welcome back to Function Store tutorial videos. In this video, we will be covering runtime configurations. If you're familiar with cloud functions, you've probably have run into cold starts or slow runtimes for some of your functions. This typically happens for functions that aren't called frequently. It can really ruin the user experience for your web application. Fortunately, Google recently made it possible to reduce the risk of slow cloud functions, and we've integrated a simple tool to manage runtime configurations, including memory allocated, timeouts, and min and max active instances. So let's go ahead and get started by logging into Function Store to show us how we can use the runtime configuration tool. Once we're logged in, we're going to go ahead and scroll down and find a function we want to install. For this example, we'll go with send sign up welcome email. Once you're found the function you want to install, all you have to do is click Install Latest Version. We'll then find the project we want to use and input our environment variables. So SendGrid API and template ID. And lastly, we need to put a sender email in. Great. So now that we have our function configured, rather than clicking install, we're going to go ahead and click runtime. And a menu will drop down showing you three options: memory allocated, timeout, and auto scaling. For memory allocated, you have the option to pick between 128 megabytes all the way up to 8 gigabytes with a default memory allocation of 256 megabytes. So for your smaller functions, you could use less memory, and for functions that require a little bit more work, you can go ahead and increase it all the way to 8 gigabytes. For timeouts, it defaults to 60 seconds, but you can have a maximum timeout allowed of 540 seconds, also known as 9 minutes. So if you need to adjust it, simply change the number right here. And lastly, we auto scaling. So typically with cloud functions, if they're not being called within 15 minutes, the minimum number of instances will scale to 0. And this does help you save money. However, this also can cause cold starts. So to prevent cold starts for functions that you don't want to happen or slow down your user experience, all you have to do is set the minimum number of instances to greater than 1. If it's 1 or above, you'll always have an active instance, and this will make sure that your function remains warm. Now, bear in mind, if you do have a minimum number of instances, you are going to be charged for that by Google. On the other hand, you have the maximum number of instances. And this does help when you don't want a certain number of instances to be formed consistently. Maybe you want to limit it to 5 instances because you don't want to incur a large bill from Google. You can go ahead and set that here as well. Once you have your function configured and you've figured out what you want with your runtimes, all you have to do is simply click install. And if you ever have to make changes, all you have to do is reconfigure the function. It's that simple. So now you could say goodbye to cold starts and a hello to a much better user experience for your web application. If you'd like more information, you can go ahead and check out our documentation, which you can find at the bottom of this YouTube video or at docs.functions.store. Thank you, and if you need any help, reach out.